was just the boy next door.
Hi, well, hello there, Danny. I didn't know it was hockey season.
Hey, can I borrow a knife?
A deadly curse, a deranged killer, a small town in tears. Knife After Dark, rated R for retarded.
Do you have dry mouth?
I sure do.
It protects your teeth, fights infection, and lubricates your food. But what happens when you run out of saliva?
Help me, I can't talk.
For personal dryness upstairs, it's Salivex.
Wow, I can spit again.
Salivex is more than saliva in a can. Salivex improves consumption efficiency by 50%. No more halfway cures like coating your throat with cooking oil to have that extra piece of cake or bowl of kitty litter.
After a night out, my tongue tasted like carpet. It was embarrassing. Now with Salivex, I can eat a whole box of crackers or lick my life partner's
stamp collection
all night.
It's like having a salivation army in my mouth. Now I can suck a
lollipop
for as long as I want.
Salivex tastes like your own saliva. That's because at Salivex's state-of-the-art production facilities, we use salivation philanthropists who make Salivex all day. Salivex, when it comes to personal dryness upstairs, we're deadly serious.
Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to continuing coverage of the bracket stages of the Normal Percent Summer League Super Smash TV tournament here on GG Speedruns. Today, we have an exciting showdown between Oopla and Sigmafan. Hi, everyone. I'm LOZ Cards Fan 23, and joining me on the commentary this afternoon, Jackamus Wedge. A great matchup here between these two excellent competitors. A lot of experience, of course, in the easy percent circuit. But now in our first ever summer league for the normal percent, we've got two great runners here, and I'm looking forward to this.
Oh yeah, me too, Cards. This is going to be a hell of a game, I think. They've both been dropping PBs all summer long during the regular season stages of the normal percent tournament here, and here they are playing in the second wild card game that we've got this weekend, and I could see this one going either way. It should be real close, and I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, we have the number 3 seed Oopla versus the number 6 seed Sigma. The winner, though, is going to have a tall task in front of him because the winner of this matchup will move on to next week's round 2 bracket stage against some guy, Brysolf. I have no idea who that is, Jackamus. It's the world record holder, Brysolf.
Oh, yeah, good old Cougar shits.
Right, you are there. But both riders looks like Oopla is getting some practice in on the Scarface fight, and I certainly can't blame him for that. He is definitely the most difficult boss of the 3 in the normal percent run. So we'll let him finish it up, and then I'm going to ask for readies.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, just looking at it, you can see, especially this second phase, how hard it is to pin Scarface in the corner with your lobbers. So definitely a tricky boss, but oh, is it so satisfying to watch a great fight against this guy.
Yeah, this really looks like a good fight right now. We'll talk about more about how the mechanics work when we get to that part of the race. Boy, what a finish there, huh?
Yeah, very good. I mean, you get tagged by the stars at the door, but it's practice. You can have a little fun there.
All right, I'm going to ready them up.
Absolutely. Looks like Sigma's ready to go anytime, and Oops doing the old restart, get ready here. Or is Sigma away from keyboard? I don't see her on the webcam there.
She might be, but we got a little bit of time here, so yeah, we'll just wait until they're both ready to go. Yeah, Oopla says they're getting ready to do their manipulations. Yeah, Sigma might be away for a moment, but we'll get her back in just a moment.
Yeah, and I just saw that little assy screen on Oopla's side. So Oopla is playing the Japanese card, which is pretty much identical to the North American, except both Mutoid Man and MC are a little less aggressive with their laser attack.
Exactly, yes. Because Sigma is playing on the US cart, she's going to have a little bit more difficulty with both of those fights. But yeah, otherwise, the game is exactly the same.
Yeah, all the rooms are basically the same length, the same amount of enemies, spawns. Just the difference in those attacks for the bosses makes the Japanese version preferable. But if you're skilled enough, the version differences for this game are minor enough that we do allow people to compete side by side with each different card.
Absolutely. You know, some people might be more familiar, more comfortable doing the U.S. card as opposed to the Japan card because, yes, the laser is more sporadic and sometimes more unpredictable. If you're expecting not to see a laser, then wham, you get hit by a laser. Whereas on the U.S. card, you know when the lasers are coming because the intervals are always the same.
Yeah, absolutely. It can seriously catch you off guard from time to time on the Japanese cards. So there's kind of a, pros, cons to both there. But a lot of our runners seem to have figured out which version of the game they're most comfortable with at this point. So we've got a US-JP match here as well.
All right. Looks like Sigma's just about ready to go. Both runners are now ready. I'm going to go ahead and count them down.
All right, cards, let's get this show on the road.
All right, both runners have been counted down. They have to get through all 3 arenas to win. And again, winner moves on to take on the world record holder, Brysolf, in the next round of the brackets. The loser goes down into the 5th versus 6th place match. So here we go with Arena 1.
Getting things started off here. Simple room to start it off. Both players grab the instant razor shield. Just a pretty easy manipulation to do that. It just is based on whenever you start the game up from the demo menu. And we've got Sigma using that razor shield as a weapon pretty effectively on that lower door. You can see a little shake to the head there with that sabotage, that late nuke on the feet, and now a bat to the head. Oof.
Wow, that is not the start you want to see, especially when you know you are the underdog in this match.
Yeah, luckily though, hard to have a really big time swing in the first room, so it's only about a 5-second advantage for Oopla right now. And and that can be won
Well,
back instantly with an orb, and there it is for Sigma. First drop orb. You'll love to see it, Cards.
yeah, this could give Sigma a chance to gain some precious seconds against Oopla, who starts with the Razor Shield and an invulnerability. Now gets a spreader to go with it. Even though Sigma's gotten the orb, she hasn't gotten any weapons to complement that orb. So because of that, Oopla is still going to have the lead coming out of collect power-ups with a 121, though Sigma did gain some time. It is down to a 4-second lead to 125 as we now go into Eat My Shrapnel. The aim is simple. Take down 18 of the Mr. Shrapnels, and oh no, Sigma lost the orb as well, so this is not good for her. Take down 18 of the Mr. Shrapnels. She does get a replacement. A maximum of 4 of them can be on the screen at any given point. So you want to make sure you're keeping the kill count high and not let getting those shrapnel dudes out of control.
Yeah, and you can see on Oopla's side there, Oopla taking a death there. This room can actually be pretty rough if you don't come in with an orb and you're not getting good weapons to help you out. So that's going to help Sigma's case to get back in this thing. Should be a... Yeah, they're exactly tied at 208 going into total carnage.
Yeah, if we actually go by the clock, Sigma has taken a brief lead on Oopla, maybe a second at most. But that is amazing, the power of the orb right there and that death that Oopla take. You put those two things together, that's how you can get that lead swing. And Oopla still has not seen an orb 2.5 minutes in. Has seen a Razor Shield, but Sigma can keep control of the middle here in total carnage. But of course, you'd like to get some weapons to complement that orb.
Yeah, Oopla having to take another death there. Sometimes it's okay to take a death intentionally. You do get that invulnerability on your feet, which can help you clear the room out if you're getting overwhelmed and the game is giving you absolutely nothing for drops. But,
yeah, speaking of nothing, finally
there's finally
under 3
an orb
minutes.
for Oopla,
Yes.
but the damage has been done. Sigma, assuming that she can keep things steady here, is going to pull ahead fairly significantly, I would say, Cards.
Yeah, she did a really good job with the 308, despite the fact the game gave no weapons, and oh, the shrapnel explodes, going to cost Oopla even more time. It's a 9-second lead for Sigma. Both of them having orbs. Neither player has a weapon. It is time for Taco Bell, product placement with Taco Bell.
Oh, Taco Bell.
All right, so the first drop here in Tank Trouble is going to be very important because the spawn rate is just like an Arena 3, and a foot is not a great opening drop, and immediately losing the orb is Sigma. Let's see if the game will favor Oopla here. Nope, it's an invulnerability. I mean, it will protect them from the bullets from the tank dudes, and then he gets a Razor Shield. That's a great drop. So immediately, Oopla getting the benefit of some very solid drops here to start Tank Trouble, and Sigma getting absolutely hosed.
Yep, tale of 2 drops. Luck has completely shifted from the right side of our broadcast to the left here in Tank Trouble.
And
Sigma doing good work with just that pea shooter, though, keeping alive and keeping things down, but the spawn rate's so high. You need an orb or you need rockets in this.
Yeah,
room.
she's done a good job of damage control and is going to get a replacement orb, but I think we are going to see a change in the leadership, and indeed we do. Oopla back in the lead with a 430, and Sigma losing the orb again late here in Tank Trouble. And boy, this has been a disaster of a room here for Sigma, unfortunately. So it's going to be double digits and a whole lot more. We're probably talking about a 15-second lead plus an orb going in the Mutoid Man fight. Not an impossible stretch to come back from, but does get the ball buster is Oopla. That's 42% of a form damage right there, Jack.
Yeah, absolutely. Great hesitation on that, just to make sure it gets in. There's a spreader opportunity.
Perfect drops location too.
Oopla is parked on, but Sigma grabs hers. So all of a sudden,
vulnerability for the rest of the spreader. You love
all
to
of
see
a sudden, Cards, that huge lead Oopla had coming out of Tank Trouble is gone. We're back to dead even, and back
we are all square. Now they both have lobbers.
Speedruns.
Yeah, you're absolutely right, Jack. But there is one problem. That gunner is still, now the gunner is gone. And then, oh, but Sigma didn't recognize it in time. Oh, that's a bad break right there. She could have taken the lead.
Oh, yeah, absolutely, Cards. If you're able to recognize that that spreader's there, the mine's right next to you. Walk on the mine, the spreader's ripe for the taking. That's another form gone.
However, nonetheless, Sigma has taken the lead. Just better drop so far here in the Mutoid Man fight. It's grenades versus a lobber coming up for Sigma. And now an empty drop for Oopla. A disaster so far of a Mutoid Man fight for Oopla. Penultimate form now for Sigma with rockets waiting. Continuing the damage, it's a full form lead. Oopla gonna try to get some manual spreaders in, getting a few shots in, but that lead is still firmly right now on Sigma's side. Changing up to lobbers. Final form now for Sigma. This is the best weapon that you want to have here in the final phase here, the lobbers. Oh my goodness, the aggressiveness of Mutoid Man, but is going to change it up for lobbers. This could be enough to finish the job for Sigma if she lands these shots. And does, and takes the lead. And Oopla's still not on the final form, Jack.
Yeah, that's bad news for Oopla right there. Drops shifted back to the right side once again, cards. Skill-wise, it's been completely even so far. In Arena 1, it's been a tale of who's gotten the better drops.
Yeah, and it's been very inconsistent throughout the entire way. It's a 6:46. Sigma's not going to be happy about that time coming out of normal, but Oopla's really not going to be happy about the time he's got coming out of Arena 1.
Yeah, it's going to be about a 7:15 for Oopla when all said and done. So Sigma with a pretty significant advantage early on here, but the RNG of this game can still take that away in an instant.
Close to a 32-second lead for Sigma going into Arena 2 here, and we are starting with orbs. Now, here in Arena 2, there are 2 rooms that do not have orb drops. This is one of them. The third one, Defend Me, is the other, but Sigma taking a death here, and that is a time penalty. And I say that because this is pretty much a timed room taking out all of these orbs here. You have to take out enough of them in a fixed amount of time, but anytime you take a death, it's about a 5-second penalty.
Well, the good news for Sigma, actually, is that coming into this arena with rockets, there weren't that many orbs in the room when she took the death, so a couple of them were still spawning in. It may not be as much of a time loss as you think, but still, you're absolutely right. In these quote-unquote timed rooms, it's really just staying alive is all you have to do, and you won't lose time unless you have like a really bad pattern of enemies at the very end of the room.
And no drops to help you out, which is exactly what's been happening with Sigma. Now, Oopla's gotten some rockets, which is definitely going to help. But nice.
That's a great nuke from Sigma.
Yes, very nice nuke right there. So Sigma will keep the lead going into film at 11. And this is a very important room because you want to have the orb and you want it early.
Yeah, this is one of the first really big RNG swings possible here in Arena 2. You want to see that orb in this room immediately. Maybe 1 or 2 more drops here to get an orb and get settled in. And Sigma, I think, recognizes that and is going to take that nuke right away to try to speed the next drop along.
Oopla did cut the lead to 25 seconds. So, yeah, that death did matter to some aspect on the Sigma side. And Sigma's not getting any weapons here in a film at 11. Grenades to start for Oopla, at foot for Sigma, which will help against these fast-moving plastic soldiers. There's a dude for Oopla. So neither of these players really getting anything of value here. There finally is a Razor Shield and a Spreader, respectively. But right now, time is running out for Sigma to get this orb here. And a key is not going to help.
No, absolutely not, cards. And something else that's contributed to Oopla gaining a few seconds back there that tends to go unnoticed a lot of the time is just all the prize counting up in between arenas.
Oh, Sigma gets clubbed down by the fast switchers. Gets a rocket here. That is going to end the room, so no orb for Sigma. So Oopla, if he sees an orb towards the end of this room, could really gain some time here in Defend Me, but still no orb on Oopla's side, and there will be no orb. But look at the time savings he's had just in film at 11 alone. Better quality drops.
Yeah, cut into that lead quite significantly. It's less than 10 seconds lead for Sigmafan now. And Sigma starting with rockets here, won't have too much trouble at the start of the room. Oopla's going to refresh that spreader, and, well, here we go. Defend Me, one of the tougher rooms in Arena 2.
Yeah, because you have, again, the quick-moving plastic soldiers, you have the tanks that show up, you have the disc snakes, and then, of course, you've got the shrapnel dudes, and you have all that coming at you at once.
Yeah, the disc snakes especially are problematic in this room. There's 3 of them that appear, and they do need to be defeated to end the room. But you also need to defeat a certain amount of plastic soldiers for the room to end, and if you're not getting weapons, it can be really difficult to take those disc snakes out quickly.
All right, well, the disc snakes are gone. One of the tanks is gone, and now here come the shrapnel dudes.
You can see Oopla almost got into a lot of trouble there when that weapon ran out, just using the pea shooter to finish the snake off. Almost got pinned in the
nice nuke,
corner.
though.
Yeah, that'll clear the room out pretty good.
Yep, Sigma not really be getting any drops here. A lot of grenades here. I mean, it's better than, you know, empty drops and whatnot, but still, these are not the drops you want. When you're trying to go up against someone like Oopla, who, you know, the number 3 seed versus number 6 seed, it's still going to be a Sigma lead at 11:29, but now Oopla's cut even more into that lead. It's down to a 4-second race, Jack, and another death for Sigma. We'll get the orb, though.
Oh, but the game does reward Sigma with an orb here, so that will definitely help a bit. This room, even though it's technically a timed room because it's got these orbs in them, they come in so quickly that you really need the additional firepower to keep things under control.
But it's equal opportunity drops, Jack, as Oopla gets an orb of his own. And if I do the math correctly, if these two keep the same pace that they have and Oopla doesn't take a death, I think we are going to see a change in the leadership.
We definitely could, Cards. Not in this room, though. Great firing from Sigma is going to get her out of here and preserve her slight lead over Oopla.
Yeah, gained maybe a half a second, even with the death that Sigma took. I think it just had to do with the fact that she got the, but she loses the orb, of course. That's kind of typical in this room because you look at the bottom left. It is out of access, and again, you have these plastic soldiers. Your maneuverability is limited in this room. It's very difficult to keep the orb intact.
And on top of that, for whatever reason in this room, the plastic soldiers move at about 1.5 times their normal speed. The title does not lie. They are fast.
Yep, and Oopla does lose his orb also. Again, very tough to keep the orb here in this room the entire time. Does get some rockets, though, which will definitely help. Follow that up with a spreader. Here's some rockets for Sigma. Will she be able to get around to it? She does, but then gets clubbed down by the yellow plastic soldier. No! Does get an orb replacement, though.
Yeah, if you manage to get an orb in this room, sometimes it's okay to just hide in the corner and preserve that extra firepower. And you see Sigma doing that to great effect right now on her side of the broadcast.
However, because of that death, we do have a change in leadership. It is now Oopla in the lead with a 13:27. This could be a double-digit lead here for Oopla. Not quite. It is going to be a 10-second lead, 13:37. And now you want to have the rockets. All right, best sound of the game coming up right here. You want to have rockets because we're going to tell you why in a moment.
Oh yeah, and both of them have the orb. Oopla's got his rockets. Sigma would love a pack of those yesterday. Oh, Sigma lost the orb. That is not good.
No. Best sound of the game, and more rockets to just shred through these disc snakes.
RNG starting to favor the favorites, as you like to say, Cards.
And as Burgundy likes to say, underwhelm the underdogs. But hey, Sigma's got the rockets as well, so it's twice as nice.
Yeah, and good use of the invuln by Sigma to just save a few rockets in those clip. Make sure you can get all the snakes. Now Sigma just needs to get a replacement orb before the buffalo herd comes in.
That's not looking good. Those canisters are coming up. And here come the herkajerks.
They're herky and they're jerky.
Yep, they move fast, they have a huge hitbox, and it's easy to lose your orb.
Yeah, it's really the size of them that is the problem in terms of keeping the orb intact. It's hard enough to dance around with an orb against enemies that move so unpredictably, but when they're taking up so much real estate, keeping the orb is an absolute nightmare without some sort of protection.
Ooh, and Oopla gets swarmed by the buffalo herd, losing his orb and his life, but the game... You gotta be kidding me, Jack. RNG favoring the favorite again.
Sigma's is getting some vitamin R, though. Rockets and razor shields. That'll keep things close.
And she's at least getting some weapons and razor shields to keep her afloat. But yeah, the orb is going to enable Oopla to extend that lead. I mean, there's just nothing to it. I mean, the invulnerability is going to help. When you don't get an orb, invulnerability is a nice drop to have here.
Yeah, they're just so bunched up, you can walk through a good 20 of them per invuln easily. And look at this! Look at this, cards! Look at this, cards! Vitamin R is the answer, as Sigma is going to pull back ahead.
Wow, and by double digits. She gained 21 seconds in that room, Jack.
Yeah, it was just, it was just really good play. Didn't have an orb to work through the herd, but made good use of the vitamin R when it came. Didn't take any deaths. Very calm, very patient. So Sigma gonna have a slight advantage here going into Scarface.
Yeah, this is going to be the real test, though. Scarface, he's mean, he's erratic, he's got a lot of problems. So you have to take out at least 15 of the 16 shield fragments that surround Scarface, and you have to do enough damage to its core as well. Anytime you pick up a lobber or a grenade, you are also granted some invulnerability as well. The game was nice enough to do that in this room because they knew how hard this boss was.
Yeah, absolutely, cards. A pretty solid set of drops for Sigma so far. Grenades into a lobber, into a couple of spreaders, so Sigma doing good work, getting some damage in the center and working on that outside casing. Another lobber for Sigma, that's going to do most of the remaining damage necessary to the core. But a lobber for a orb for Oopla might actually be far more important because of how difficult it is to control Scarface. The orb gives you that double firing power, makes it much easier to pin him into the corner and move him around the room you want to hit the pieces of him that you need.
Yeah, right now with the grenades, the Sigma's working on trying to take down the rest of the shielding here. There's a lobber, not going to be able to get to it as she is surrounded. So who's going to get to that second form first? More lobbers, though, for Sigma. Might be good enough to get to the second form here, depending on how much shielding is left on her side.
Looks like Sigma did get all the shielding cards, fans. Oh, but the disc comes out of the corner and clips her.
Yeah, the good old buzzsaw here, and that is definitely going to be a buzz kill. And it is final form first for Sigma. So in the second phase, you have to take out all 8 of the larger shield fragments and do enough damage to the middle. But the problem here in this phase is sometimes the right side of that hitbox likes to break, and we don't know what causes that, even after all these years, Jack.
Shoddy programming is what we would like to say.
And Oopla did gain some time on the first half of that fight there, so it's going to come down to who gets better drops, who performs better in the second half here. Another death for Sigma, and that's going to be a continue, which could give an opportunity for Oopla, but Oopla also taking a death here. Spreaders for Sigma. I don't know how much shielding is left. I would imagine the right side is what needs to be worked on. I don't know if she's going to get to that. Is she going to get there? Yes. Right side.
Sigma was another lobber. I don't think this lobber is really doing anything for Sigma, though. She's already got some lobber damage in on the form. She just needs to take out that right side of the boss. I can see it. It's still there.
Yeah. That's the problem right now. She may not know it right now. Is that right side? Oopla, meanwhile, needs to do damage in the core. But yeah, you're right. I think Sigma's done enough damage to the core. And there it is. Oopla has retaken the lead yet again.
Yeah, that was a great lobber from Sigma, but the damage wasn't necessary. This grenade should do it as long as Sigma can realize that she needs to hit that piece on the right side. That's what's keeping Scarface alive.
Yes, it is. This is just a problem here. I mean, she's not recognizing it. Maybe this will... Oh, and still not hitting the right side of that shielding here. My word. This has been a disaster so far for Sigma. And she's not going for that right side. There, now she sees it.
Now she sees the flash. So now hopefully she realizes that's why he's still alive. I mean, look at his face cards. There's nothing left there.
That and she really had done enough damage. Just did not recognize that the right side was not down, and with that she's down by 40 seconds.
And we talked about that right at the start of phase 2. Is that a case of commentator's curse, I wonder?
Well, it's part of the fight. I mean, it always has been and it always will be. Scarface has a lot of volatility. You do well in it, good things are going to happen. If you don't do well on it, you're going to be behind the 8 ball, and Sigma's already behind the 8 ball. So here it comes, no dice, and look at this. Oopla gets a last drop orb in this time room. You'll love to see it. Oopla in a very powerful position. Sigma getting an early orb, that's good too, but yeah, Oopla is going to keep this lead nice and healthy. It's going to be 40 seconds approximately.
Yeah. Yeah, both with an orb here, so at least at the start of Arena 3, no one particularly being favored by RNG here. That's not going to decide it in these first couple of rooms.
It's a 2047 going into the next room for Oopla. Now, in this arena, you can get a orb in any room, but I do believe there's one room coming up where you can't get a razor shield.
You said that, and now I'm just kind of brainsing it out, and it's like, is that true? It's like,
I think it's the bonus. I think it's the room that kind of looks like a bonus room coming up.
I think you're right. I don't recall seeing razor shields in that room.
All right, it's a 2120, so it's not as big of a deficit as I thought. It's only 33 seconds, which can definitely be made up easily, but yeah, Sigma's just got to shake off that bad fight against Scarface and try to just do her best here in Arena 3.
Well, what's unfortunate is that I don't think that fight against Scarface was particularly bad. Sigma just missed a piece and didn't realize it for about half a minute or so.
Yeah, and if she would have recognized it sooner, we'd be dead even.
Absolutely, Cards. I completely agree with you there.
Or even perhaps a Sigma lead. No joke. Sigma unfortunately loses her orb. Oopla keeps his.
Well, the good news for Sigma is you've got time to get another orb here. This room might as well be considered a time room. There's not a whole lot of spawners in here. As you can see, Oopla just kind of had to wait for those last few shrapnels to come in there, and that's what causes the room to end. And you can see the room basically dead empty for Sigma here, and it'll be another 10-15 seconds before those shrapes come in. What's good is that Sigma has rockets, so you can just pound right through the shrapes and get the room done really, really quick here.
Oopla now in turtle chunks nearby. Yeah, this is the room where you cannot get a razor shield. Sigma has cut the lead to 28 seconds. So, I mean, she's done a good job, keeping things under control. But the having no orb means Oopla can definitely start to pull away if he can keep his healthy.
Yeah, and Oopla doing a great job controlling the center here right now. I find it kind of weird that they introduced these snake enemies in Arena 3 and the little robot plastic guys in Arena 2. The plastic guys are way more dangerous than these snakes are.
Yeah, they are just like the foot soldiers, only they move a little bit quicker than the regular foot soldiers.
And yeah, this is time that's starting to bleed away for Sigma a bit here, as long as Oopla keeps that orb healthy. Bit of a challenging move there to pick up that nuke, but
wow.
Oopla pulls it off, and that's pretty much going to be the... No!
I thought Sigma had gotten back to safety and just couldn't quite pull it off, and that's another continue.
Yeah, that orb was in a really challenging location to pick up and keep healthy and keep the room going. Just a little too much for Sigma in the moment, I think.
Yeah, she almost got through that, and you're right, that was a very difficult grab. She had done some nice dancing, almost got back to safety, and just got it picked off at the last second.
These rockets will keep the dream alive in the meanwhile. Just a few more swarmers here now after that nuke should be.
Oh, but she stepped on a mine.
Oh, this run was hers, Cards, but now it's mine.
It most certainly is, Jack. And Sigma now out of that room into Dynamite Cobra Boss. So I believe
also
5 of
known
these
as
purple
the worst
snakes.
room in the game.
Yes, because after the 5 purple snakes show up, then the Herkerjerks reappear again.
And they were bad enough on their own in Buffalo Herd, but now there's all manner of crap just being vomited out at you from the top of the screen. It is not a fun room in the slightest.
Yeah, if Sigma can't get that orb back by the time the 5th purple snake shows up, she's going to be in a world of hurt.
Yeah, Oopla set up really nicely there with Orb and Razor Shield, and the Razor Shield lasting a significant amount of time, but there goes the Orb, and look at that. The game is just like, no, Oopla, man, it's okay. We got you covered. Here's your
exactly, because the RNG favors the favorites, but right as I say that, Jack, Sigma gets her replacement Orb at the nick of time. And a Razor Shield.
Razor Shield, Orb, and Rockets. Okay, Sigma's set up pretty good here for when those Herkerjerks come in.
Yep, she is living large right now. Those Herkerjerks should be coming any moment now. There they are.
Yeah, there they are.
Ooh, Oopla forfeits his orb again. This time does not have a replacement waiting for him. More rockets for Sigma, but it's not in a really good spot. Loses his orb and sacrifices it to go after the rockets.
I think that that's a trade that you can make in this room just because of how difficult it is to keep the orb. The rockets, you know, are going to be a guaranteed solid 5 seconds of complete chaos, but that orb, that thing can go at any time if you're not hiding in the corner.
Yep, and unfortunately lost a lot of that clip, taking a death, and takes another death to the Herkajerks here. So, yeah, right now, she's been getting the drops, just not quite being able to take advantage of said drops, and Oopla has not seen a replacement orb, so we'll see what kind of lead we're talking about when Oopla is done with this room.
Yeah, room should be coming to a close for Oopla. Sigma still got some work to do here against these Herkajerks.
Well, there's another nuke, another opportunity for her. And the Herkajerks are still coming on Oopla's side as he picks up some rockets. Now the Herkajerks finally come to an end for Oopla.
And Oopla having a little bit of difficulty with those last 3 Herkajerks cards, just not able to get the rockets to land.
All right, rockets now for Sigma. 26:52 was the time going into this room. No orb right now for Oopla. Sigma's gotten some good weapons here to try and keep her afloat, but she's definitely going to be back. Oh, takes the death there, which will be enough, you know, to finish off this little herd. But yeah, the tick, 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 tick. The clock is still running here for Sigma here in this Buffalo herd room. There's a replacement orb and going to get it to safety as well. So very nice. Almost lost it right there,
Almost lost it, cards, as soon as you said it, but Sigma is going to have an orb intact going into the considerably easier but still treacherous Witness Total Carnage.
She is 45 seconds back. So again, not out of the realm of possibility yet there, Jack, but if Oopla doesn't get a replacement orb and Sigma, you know, can keep it healthy, she could definitely gain some time back. Now in this room, 6 of those purple snakes come out before we see the swarmers, which we already see on Oopla's side.
Yeah, at this point, you kind of think that maybe the producers of Smash TV ran out of their prop budget cards because we've just got these regular bat dudes back. It's like, we didn't think anyone would get this far, so
exactly.
I guess we're going to dip into our stash of convicts again? Why not?
Why not?
Great dance by Oopla there.
Yeah, absolutely. And finally gets rewarded with a replacement orb with rockets in tow. Has to time it carefully because those snakes, and oh boy. And yep, the right side would just not let up for Oopla to get out of that corner.
Anytime you see a good drop on the north side of these 2 rooms, you're just asking the game, why does it have to be up with the snakes?
And Sigma losing her orb as well. Almost gets clubbed down. Somehow is able to avoid that. But Guds does get clubbed down trying to get that dude. Knowing that lives are precious here, because if you run out of continues, your game is over and you automatically lose the race.
Yeah, and for Sigma, having to use 2 continues in that Scarface room, that's not helping her live counter.
It's 29-12. Trying to get to that orb. Can't get it, though.
Yeah, just too much around the orb there to really be able to pick it up and keep it. Because the orb always shows up northeast of your character is where it always starts.
Oh, and another death for Sigma, and this is starting to get problematic, and I say that because Oopla is now in the last room where you can get extra lives.
Yeah, and Oopla's got rockets, so all the purple snakes in this room, you can see Oopla deliberately taking their time, not worrying about the swarmers too much just yet. Want to keep those rockets going so that those snakes aren't harassing you for the entire first half of the room.
And that lead is growing now for Oopla. This has not been a very good room for Sigma.
No, it hasn't, cards. And look at this. This is the 5th rocket in a row for Oopla, and those snakes are long gone.
6th rocket in a row for Oopla. Wow.
Who needs an orb if you're getting this many rockets?
It's Prince Leaf luck as the lead is now up to 67 seconds, and then gets an orb. Wow, what kind of drops are these, Jack?
They're incredible drops cards. I wonder if Oopla does split room by room. Is this possibly a gold split that we're looking at for this room? Because these drops are out of this world cards.
These drops, more rockets. That's what is it? 9 rocket drops in this room out of like the
9 rocket
last.
drops.
Holy smokes. And that's enough to clear the room. Man, Oopla just turning on the afterburners with the 30-51 into the bonus room. So now, ladies and gentlemen, it is time to play the game show. Within a game show is what is going to take down Oopla. Will it be the left snake? Will it be the right snake? Will it be both snake, or will it be neither? And if you say neither, you have to specify if it's going to be the buzzsaws or if it's going to be a flawless victory for Oopla. Make your predictions now.
I'm feeling buzzsaw.
Yesterday when I was doing commentary, right was having its way. I think it's left stay. All right, getting an invulnerability, losing the orb, but the rockets are the worst drop in this room. The best drop, believe it or not, is the drop that everybody loathes, the grenades, because of the DPS.
Yeah, they can get you into trouble, though, because you do have to be pretty close to the snakes to use them.
True, you want to have an invulnerability to go with it. And it is the left snake.
It is the left snake, though it took quite a while there. Oopla putting up a pretty good effort.
He most certainly did. I mean, it is very tough to get through this room without taking a death. I mean, you have the snakes that are going every which way but loose. You've got the buzzsaws that will go every which way but loose. Now, a fun fact is that about the top third of this arena, you are safe from the Cobra's hitbox, but of course, you're still very much vulnerable to the buzzsaws.
And you can't really see the buzzsaws because the sprites are behind the Cobras, so the top of the room is just as dangerous as the bottom.
Yep, and you can't take them down either. They just explode automatically after a certain amount of time.
Yeah, Oopla a little over a minute ahead of Sigma now. Those amazing drops for Oopla, and you could see on the webcam, he was absolutely giddy after that 9 rocket drop room.
I'll tell you what, that was a pretty solid...
And there go the snakes. Snakes are gone pretty quick for Oopla as well there.
That was
Oopla
under 2 minutes. My
Oopla
goodness.
just taking it straight, just taking Sigma out behind the woodshed here late in Arena 3.
All right, what is going to take Sigma out? Left, right, both, or neither? I think it's time for a buzzsaw.
Well, Sigma's already dodged 2 buzzsaws that were pixels away from giving you that prediction cards.
Yep, so this is, you almost have enough keys, which is another timed room with where these orbs and some tanks and film canisters are in the mix. You want to try and get this orb here. And once you do get the orb, it is just best to stay in the corner and preserve that orb.
Yeah, absolutely, cards. There's no reason to be a hero in this room because the spawn rate on those little blue orbs is not very high at all. And there's not really anything you can do to speed it up. So, you know, this is your break room after the boss. Just hang in the corner, take your time.
Oh, and the buzzsaws just absolutely swarm Sigma, and that is 2 for 2 for your boy LOZ.
2 for 2, but both players survive basically the entire fight without a death, so usually the Cobras have a little fun with at least one of the players there, but both of them playing pretty great against the Cobras here today.
Yeah, Sigma should be almost done with this room. She's done a lot of damage to the Cobras here. I mean, she's really done a good job with the maneuverability. Has had some good luck as well. Should be almost done with these Cobras. But now, in a little bit of a pickle, there's the grenades, and that's it.
Yep, that is it. So Sigma looks to be about a minute and a half behind. So gonna need some help from the game for sure. In you don't have enough keys and eat my eyeballs to be able to catch back up and get back into this one.
Or if you've collected at least 10 keys, you have enough keys, which means you would gain access to the Pleasure Dome if you picked up just 1 more key. But obviously, you don't want to see these runners go to the Pleasure Dome unless they want to meme it up. Like if they know they've lost, they might meme it up and go to the Pleasure Dome or whatnot. But I don't think we're going to see that from either run. I don't think either player has enough keys.
No, and I think even if you're Sigma and paying attention to the broadcast, you know you're about a minute and a half behind. You can't feel good about yourself, but you know there's still a chance. You can't go to the Pleasure Dome and throw it away.
No, I mean, there's still very much a chance for Sigma to win this because this room coming up here, not enough keys, or the room of 10,000 foot soldiers is now at hand. And we are not, exaggerating. It's about 10,000 foot soldiers.
Yeah, it just goes on and on and on and on. It can take anywhere from 4.5 minutes with fantastic drops to upwards of 10 if you get nothing and aren't playing good.
Yep. 35:30, by the way, was the time for Oopla going into that room. And, Sigma gets zapped, and this is her last continue here.
Nope, she can continue one more time, so she has 10 lives to finish up.
Okay.
I don't think we're going to see a game over here.
Yep, and we'll see what kind of deficit Sigma's going to have. She still needs to get this orb back to at least help her start the 10,000 foot soldier room.
Yeah, absolutely, Cards. She was set up pretty nicely in the corner, but just a bit of rotten RNG movement from the game clipped the orb, and at that point it's like, well, you got to get the drops, you got to force the orb, and even in a quote-unquote break room like this, in the middle of the room, things can get a little hectic when you have shrapnels and tanks on top of the orbs.
And Oopla getting a Razor Shield, the rare Razor Shield drop here when you have an orb, so Oopla can keep control of the middle for a good chunk of time.
Yeah, and this is a room where you want to play that Razor Shield differently than you would elsewhere. In a lot of other rooms that are shorter, you won't hesitate to just slightly move out of the center with your Razor Shield and take a good chunk of the guys coming out of the door. You will not do that in this room. You want that thing to last as long as it possibly can to keep you in the center.
Sigma grabs some rockets. Still has not gotten a replacement orb yet here in this room, and won't get one as this is the end of the room. Time is 37:23, so she's 1:53 back and orbless.
Yep. And Sigma elected to use the last few of the rockets to take out those couple of swarmers there. Maybe a bit of a mental mistake there, because you know that disc snake is coming in right away.
Oh, and the shrapnel picks off Sigma as well. Gonna use the Razor Shield to take down the disc snakes. That's a good idea.
Yeah, well, Sigma was actually trying to use the invulnerability from the death to get the first one, but it was either let the Razor Shield go away and do that, or you have to get the Razor Shield and use a bit of it to get rid of the snake, just because of the location of both. Sigma had an orb and rockets there, but the orb got clipped there.
Got just a little bit too careless there, Jack. I thought she had a chance to maybe make a breakaway there, but just got a little bit too close to foot soldiers and just took it away. Oople's done a great job keeping that orb nice and healthy. And as I say that, he's doing a lot of dancing.
Yeah. Well, I can tell you, Card, speaking from experience as one of the runners of the game, this late into a run, if you know you're behind, you feel that you need to push the envelope.
How many times have we seen this happen for Oopla? Drops the orb and immediately next drop gets a replacement.
I wish I had that kind of luck when I played.
Right? Both runners, though, do have the orb here, but if this continues to keep up with what we've been seeing, I would imagine Oopla's going to keep that roughly 2-minute lead, if not. Oh, but losing the orb again.
Yeah, there's the perils of trying to hold the center without something to back the orb up. Orb by itself is technically enough to hold the center in this room, but you almost have to be guessing which door they're coming out of to keep on top of them. And rather than shoot on sight, you're shooting on instinct.
Yeah, that's roughly task-like instincts right there. And you got to watch out. 2 swirls consecutively come in this room. We just saw the first one for Sigma. There's the second one. Able to dodge them both.
Yeah, no big deal for Sigma there. Orb still healthy. Sigma doing a bit of a dance here, but is able to keep it in the middle. Yeah, this is
getting dicey here, Jack. All right, somehow is able to get through that. Here's a spreader. Ooh, got to it.
That was a great little quick movement from Sigma to keep that orb alive.
Very nice indeed. And Oopla has still not gotten a replacement orb yet. And rockets now for Sigma on the feet. Rockets for Oopla as well.
Yeah, rockets are glorious. If it's not a boss room, you want rockets all the time. They just saw through anything.
All right, so Oopla still no orb now. Going to use a nuke to give himself a little bit of a breather. Hopefully some kind of drop it will show up for him. It's a foot. Not exactly what he is looking for. Sigma still has that orb and healthy, gets a foot. Nice maneuverability here, trying to keep that orb healthy. Grenades, that's not going to be a great drop, but a 40-20 as Oopla is done with the room. He is the first to the Evil MC, and the Evil MC is nothing more than Mutoid Man reskin, just has more HP and moves much more aggressively.
Yeah, yep. And Sigma's kept this orb alive for nearly 2 minutes now. Sigma's definitely gaining some time back here in this room. The question is how much, and will it be enough with maybe a couple of lucky drops from MC to be able to...
Oh, there's a Razor Shield. Nice. Yeah, Oopla didn't have the orb, so he did not have an opportunity to go for the Ball Buster this time around. So far, the drops haven't really been spectacular yet for Oopla.
No, it's just been a couple of standard weapons, not the two standouts. That said, there is a lobber. The lobber at least can be used to deal additional damage if you hit him right on the, on the knot of his necktie.
Yep, right where the tie is was exactly what I was thinking, around the collar area. Absolutely right. So both arms are down. That is going to be the second continue for Oopla.
Sigma still putting the finishing touches on this room here, using a couple of nukes to take them out. Room's still going now, so is still over a minute behind at this point, and the clock keeps ticking in this room here.
Yeah, Oopla getting close to the penultimate form here. These lobbers, are going to do a good amount of damage, and a one well-placed spreader here could be GG right here for Oopla.
I would virtually guarantee it to be GG for Oopla if that were to happen.
Yeah,
just really good, efficient lobber fire from Oopla is making this a pretty solid MC fight so far, Cards.
I will say, though, for Sigma, this has been a really solid final room. Has kept this orb healthy very, very long. Gets a Razor Shield on the feet as well. My goodness gracious. What a room that was for Sigma, I must say. I mean, she's definitely way behind the 8 ball, 2 minutes and 5 seconds back. But, at least she kept pacing that room, if not maybe gained a few seconds.
Yeah, final form for Oopla, so extremely unlikely for Sigma to mount a comeback now. But with Orb and Spreader in hand to start the room, you certainly could have a much worse start to the final boss.
Oh, most certainly, indeed. I didn't see if Sigma got the Ball Buster or not, as Oopla's, now on the final form. This lobber, it didn't even need that lobber. That's going to do it. GG for Oopla. It's going to be just north of 44 minutes.
Yeah, that's a really, really solid time for a race. Like,
yeah,
there's a lot of folks on the leaderboard who have PBs that are far, far behind 44 minutes. That is a very competitive time.
So Oopla is going to be moving on into the next round and take on our world record holder, Brysolf, next week. Yeah.
This was a pretty close race up until the end of Arena 2, Cards, where a bit of a mental mistake from Sigma, and then Oopla just shifted into 6th gear and never took his foot off the gas.
Yeah, that room prior to the Cobra fight was just absolutely outstanding. The RNG was just smoking for Oopla. He just pulled away, and that was just too much for Sigmafan to overcome.
Yeah, it was just adding insult to injury at that point for Sigma.
And it ends up being just north of 44, as I mentioned. 44 flat and 2/3 of a second.
I think if you frame counted that, it'd be 43.59.
You think it'd be 43.59? Well, here's Sigma with a chance.
Yeah, had a spreader on hand, but when you've got one in the center of the room and you know that invulnerability's there, I mean, you might as well take it. There's a form and a half of damage right there.
Yep, and now can switch up to lobbers here and get to the penultimate form. So far, pretty solid Mutoid Man fight here. But Evil MC fight. Again, it's the same fight. Can you blame me? I've done so little commentary on normal percent.
We've done so few races on normal percent. Here's another big spreader for Sigma. So Sigma going to be able to finish off in style here and just
absolutely here
the last remaining health in this
final
block.
Form. Depending on the transfer damage, this lobber may be enough.
Oh, it took quite a while for Evil MC to switch over there. I think this lobber's going to do it.
Yeah. Pretty much even fights. She may lose like a second, and that's it. That's how even that final fight was. Really good finish there for Sigma. Those last 2 rooms, exceptional job by Sigma. Just wasn't enough.
Yeah, the mental mistake on Scarface, costing nearly a full minute, and then just the difference in RNG early on in Arena 3. But the last 2 rooms, they both played spectacularly. The first 2 arenas, they both played great.
Yeah, that was a very impressive ending there for Sigmafan. Absolutely impressive ending. But GG to Oopla, who will be moving on to the next round against Brysolf. I believe this would be the semifinals.
Yeah, right you are, Cards. We're down to the final 4, and all that action will be here again on GG Speedrun sometime in the coming week. Make sure that you are following this channel if you are not, because there is more glorious Super Smash TV action coming your way in just a few days.
Wow, it was even. It was an even Steven final room that was. They both had the same time against Evil MC. That is crazy. Imagine if they were both tied going to that room. We would have had a photo finish. We would have had to frame count. It would have been nuts.
That would have been extremely hype. Well, we still got a chance for some. I mean, our final 4. Look at our competitors. We've got Oopla Brysolf, and we've got CHX Aquas. Those races are going to be lit.
Oh, and absolutely. And remember, earlier this season, Aquas did defeat CHX 42, so it's a rematch of an earlier, not Swiss rounds, but like the group stage play, and CHX is going to want his revenge on Aquas.
Oh, absolutely, Cards fan. That'll be the one to watch next week for sure. I could see that being the race of the tournament.
And don't sit on Oopla against Brysolf either. I mean, Oopla's number 3 in the world with his time just north of 41 minutes. I mean, if Brysolf has a lackluster run and, Oopla's on PB pace, watch out.
Yeah, and anything can happen.